Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. My name is DFree here today. We are going to be taking a look at some really interesting news. Huge shout out to Goresh, the Reddit, and all that stuff. So I saw this whenever Goresh tagged me in truth in it, as you see 6 hours ago. This is actually pretty crazy because I had been making jokes throughout my videos and also a video I did with Goresh and Truth yesterday, which actually went up today. If you want to see that, we actually discussed this unit. It's on Goresh's channel. Link will be down below. But I made this joke in all those videos that, like, this LR unit seems bugged. It seems too good. It does too many things, and it does things that literally don't adhere to the game, such as, but including but not limited to, being able to launch additional supers that for every other LR default to exactly 12 key, not even 13, exactly 12. Theirs could go anywhere between 13 to 18, and they benefit from the modifier changes. That doesn't make any sense. There's only a couple of other units that can go above their main key multiplier anyway, and I believe that they are full power Frieza and the Ultimate Gohan It type. So this unit just does things that didn't make any sense. So they are actually broken, literally. I know there's a meme where people are like, oh, this unit's broken, yada, yada, but this unit was actually broken. They're going to go out of their way to, yes, nerf this unit. I don't want to say nerf, actually, but patch or fix this unit. Now, they don't do this type of stuff very often. As you guys know, the most recent example of something like this, I think, would be physical SS3 Gotenks. At first, his initial passive, I believe, I don't remember the exact initial one, but it was way worse than it is now. Like, he was... And the community complained about it, and all the Japanese player base was complaining about it, and they actually went ahead and changed it. But I believe that was also before his release. Here we have a situation where we have a unit that's been out, that's been showcased, that's been hyped up, that's been summoned for, and even rainbowed by a lot of people, actually. I've already seen it. And it's not like they're not going to be still the quote-unquote best card in the game, in my opinion, but I do think that they might be overtook. It just depends on the calculation method, but they definitely should be overtook by Goku and Frieza easily now, as far as offense is concerned. But then they still have all the defense kicking in, so I still would say they're at least top 3, if not still number 1. But let's go ahead and just go over it. So LR, Kale, and Caulifla are being adjusted due to a quote-unquote bug. This most likely is in reference to them being able to obtain more ki than expected when launching additional super attacks. So here we have a couple of images. Here is the in-game notice, and here is Goresh's translation. A bug with certain characters' super attacks has been found where they are dealing much higher damage than expected when launching additional attacks. The affected characters are those who are able to launch a multitude of super attacks. We are currently in the process of correcting this error and will provide further guidance once we are finished. Also, we plan on providing info regarding compensation within the app. This is a really interesting situation because I don't think this is something they can just offer 1 stone or whatever the meme is compensation for. Because again, I think that because the card was bugged and it's been out for days now, I think that's the easiest form of, what's the word? False advertisement. This, I don't think it will be, so I'm not going to say it will, in fact, definitely be a situation like this. But the only other times where there's been false advertisement like this, they have led to basic stone refunds. And it's happened on a couple of occasions. Now, Global never really gets that because they never really have these issues, because when this card comes to Global, it's most likely not going to have this problem, for example. It's going to be patched out. That's the only downside of playing Global, is you don't get all the same bugs. So I think that's possible, but I don't expect that 1 stone because, I mean, again, people have summoned for this card expecting it to do that, thinking it was this card that can do those things naturally. And again, it was bugged. So they get a multitude of super attacks. And another thing that was happening is mid-sequence of attacks. So they'll attack once with their initial attack or whatever. Just for context, their Ultra Super, their first super attack that they get whenever you give them orbs, in its best scenario, could be calculated at a 30 key multiplier. No other card in the game can get that high. It doesn't make any sense, which is what that's why I said I was joking about it, because it's just like, what? Why? You know, why would they do this? You know, in fact, let me actually go ahead and show you guys a couple of other sources here. So I seriously tweeted, a problem concerned certain characters was detected on the Japanese version when a character is supposed to give an additional shot the character necessarily gave an attack SP each time. The problem will soon be fixed because it's considered too powerful, with the eyeglass emoji. So also over here on the Reddit, people are talking about it as well. So it's a fix. LR, SS2, Kale, and Caulifla were never meant to get additional 18 key super attacks. Again, apparently the modifier does actually change when they hit 18 key, despite the fact they are still getting the 12 key super attack animation. Apparently they are getting the Mega Colossal modifier if they happen to hit 18 key on their additional supers. And if you've launched enough attacks, you can get a situation where their first attack is a 30 key super, then the next attack is a normal attack, and then the next one is an 18 key super. That doesn't make any sense because, again, every other card in the game would default to a 12 key super. That's insane, right? They were never meant to get that. We have multiple LRs that can perform additional attacks and get key through their passives, so it's very clear that it wasn't supposed to work the way it does right now for this particular unit. The problem with this unit is they get the attack, or they get the key, excuse me, per each attack. I mentioned this earlier. Retroactively, mid-turn, if you watch like any showcases where they're launching a sequence of attacks, you can see them gain a key between each attack. And the game considers that because it rolls it each time that they're doing an attack, and their passive applies, and it never goes away. They literally keep that passive gain throughout each attack, which is busted. LR Goku and Vegeta, both versions, on the other hand, are intended to have such ridiculous transformation restrictions. I mean, 150% passive and defense, plus Gogeta and Vegeta's respective gimmicks, plus a full heal. Oh, yeah, so this one right here, the poster was asking, if they can nerf those cards, why can't they buff Gogeta and Vegeta, right? So, yeah. He said get the term restriction off there. So, seems like there's a misunderstanding of what's going on here. Basically, LR, Kale, and Caulifla give 1 key per attack launched on attack up to 6. The issue here is that this key is gained on attack rather than at the start of the turn. Again, there are cards in the game that get their key on attack. Again, I mentioned them earlier. Full Power Frieza, if he's in the first spot, I believe gains 3 key. And then we have Gohan, does similar things. Like, there are characters that can benefit from going over their key multiplier, which I'm guessing are probably those who might get patched in this process too, by the way. So that being said, because they didn't actually even mention a specific unit, but it's pretty obvious who they're alluding to. Simply put, if your LR, Kale, and Caulifla reaches 24 on the board before attacking, your super attack effectively uses a 25 to 30 key multiplier instead of 24. This is the same for their additional super attacks. They're supposed to be 12 key super attacks, but the key they gain on super also applies here, thus giving them additional supers of 13 to 18 key. So effectively with this bug, they are able to launch 1 ultra super attack of 30 key and 4 additional super attacks of 18 key, not to mention the normal attack, which might be at that higher level of the key as well, because they can do up to 5 attacks, by the way, 4 supers and 1 normal, guaranteed 1 normal. In the optimal scenario, they can do up to 5 attacks because, again, I don't know if they're going to touch the other parts of this card where, that sounded wrong, where you have access to stacking, because they themselves get 10% for each ally that is in each of those categories. So they give themselves 30% attack instead of 10% just for being there. Botamagetta is in Universe 6 and Join Forces. That's a 20% gain instead of just 10. I don't know if they're going to touch those parts of the passive. If we see that happen, because that I didn't think was supposed to happen either, but the wording implies it. So if that happens, then that's insane, right? And then not to mention the last part where they get the guaranteed super if they're versus Universe Survival Saga and or Pure Saiyans. That stacks. UI Goku, SSBE, that's 2 guaranteed super attacks. So again, I don't know if they're going to touch those parts of the passive, but again, they can get up to 5 attacks total. So we come down here. This is the same for their additional supers. They're supposed to be 12 key supers. So effectively with this bug, they're able to launch 1 ultra super of 30 key and 4 additionals of 18 at their best. All 4 will be considered as ultra super attacks and do mega colossal damage. But their animation will be the 12 key super. That seems a bit too strong. It won't be a big nerf, but it will hurt their attack per turn by a little bit. Yeah, so that's pretty outlandish. So altogether, man, this to me seemed to imply that they were going to nerf units that got an additional probability because of the multitude of attacks, which I don't think is happening. But regardless, this is something we need to watch because, again, this unit undeniably is the best unit in the game. I don't care about active skills. It doesn't matter. This unit was too good offensively and defensively. But with their offense taking seemingly a hit, Will they go down to being second or third? I don't think so, but we'll see what happens. But thank you all for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch all of you in the next one.